Wait, let me just get my sheets. So, as you can see, I have upgraded my screen. Now you guys have got a whiteboard in front of you. That's a little bit of effort I'm putting in. It's a lot of effort, to be quite honest. I have to draw pictures and write down on them, but whatever. So today I completed my studies. Tomorrow I do have my semester exams, and I thought of making content. But the problem is I did not have any clue what to talk about. So, being a normal human, being afraid of the performance, I went on YouTube. I scrolled through my YouTube feed finding some informative videos or some philosophical videos which I could talk about. Then I procrastinated, watched some reels or whatever. Then again back to the philosophy content or the lifestyle growth content. And while watching it, I did realize something, that not being able to put myself out there without being prepared is what is keeping me back. It's the same loop. The same loop of consumption and thinking. This is what we do all day. We consume and we think, but we do not take action, which is beyond it. And that is what we need. So I just came onto this and opened up my whiteboard and started speaking. I have no content. I do not have notebooks lying around me. I do not have any notes to read from. It's just me and my mind in the lonely night. I'm sitting at my desk thinking what to speak of next. And yeah, that's how it is. But the interesting thing is, it's so wild how people will say that they are overthinkers. That is such a wild term. We'll write it in capital. People overthink. And as humans, it's in our nature to ask them, what are you overthinking about? Imagine you are with your girlfriend and she says, I'm overthinking. Or imagine you're with your boyfriend and he says that is overthinking. You are so confused by it, like, what are you overthinking? Why are you overthinking? And even if you are overthinking, why are you taking the attention away from me just because you're overthinking, or treating me like shit just because you're overthinking? And you ask them, what is your problem? Why are you overthinking? Tell it to me. Maybe I can solve it. Maybe I can. You think that to yourself and then you ask them, what are you thinking about? Tell me, I want to know, I want to get involved with you. And they cannot speak. And I think that's because they don't want to speak. Excuse me. And I don't think it's because they don't want to tell you. I think it's because they can't articulate themselves properly or what they're overthinking. It's probably just a loop of. It's mostly, not probably, just a loop of thinking about shit that don't matter, thinking about the future and past, and thinking about things they do not have any control over. And they cannot accept the fact they think that they're so unlucky that they can't control anything. That's why they can speak to you. That's why you start feeling like they are the problem, but they're really not, and it's not your fault. You're fine just the way you are. But overthinking is such an overrated term. I mean, if you give a camera, if you give a mic to a person who says that I'm an overthinker, and you tell him to speak his mind, speak his thoughts out loud, just anything he wants, he will be entirely blank. He will be entirely blank. And you realize that when you yourself come in front of a in front of anything and just start speaking your mind, you realize you can't speak your mind. You're just stuck in your own thoughts, not being able to say anything because you do not have the right amount of words. Maybe because you can't express yourself. It may be because you think you will be punished if you express yourself. A dogma spread by the internet and especially in the environment and the culture that if you let people see your weakness, you're gonna be taken advantage of. And if you tell that to 11-year-old kid, he will of course suppress his emotions. Of course, he will be thinking of that Sigma mindset. And mindset is one of the things that should be addressed next. But for now, let's be on the track. He, a small kid doesn't have the idea and that the things that are being told by the society, the internet is BS. And even if they are the truth, he won't be able to understand it because he hasn't seen that much. That's why you see so much ungenuineness in the society. I used to date a girl actually. She was a cute girl. She was around a year younger than me. And at first I approached her like online. I was quite young back then. I'm young now, but I was more young. I was a teenager, in fact. And we started talking, and she was, she felt so fake to me, you know? Even though she used to flirt with me and give me attraction cues, I felt that her words were so fake. It did not align with what she thought I always had a nagging feeling inside my heart that I'm not really a part of a heart, like she says I am. And that breaks it up. I wasn't interested in her. I moved on. But many people can't. They can't move on. I also couldn't move on for a long amount of time before I decided that I should, for the betterment of my mental health and my overall life. And you stay in the same loop of faking yourself till you have a crash out, till you do something, a mistake that is gonna cost you a fucking lot. And you can't turn back time and just remend it. No, it won't work like that. And then you are left with nothing but guilt. This is guilt, and that's what you're left with. But I do think not showing your emotions in every kind of way is a good thinking in terms of you have to put in certain emotions while you are doing some kind of networking, but you can only control your emotions if you are in terms with your emotions, if you know what emotions you're facing. If you keep suppressing your emotions, imagine it like a glass. I'm drawing a glass here. Oh my God. There is only so much you can. Oh, the water is blue. There is only so much you can fill with water before it spills off. And if you aren't in control of your emotions, if you don't know what you're doing, you will have a burnout. You will crash out. There will be emotional outbursts, which is kind of common in today's world, especially among the young generation. It's just pent up layers and layers of emotions, anger, resentment, guilt, shame. Everything is so pent up that when they release it in front of someone, even if a little bit, they just crash out. They don't know what to do with their emotions. It's such an emotional moment for them. And one more common thing which I've seen in today's society is to show off. No, it's a good thing to be honest. That means they're trying to improve, but they feel so insecure in their own self that they have to show off in every domain that they're in, and they can't do it properly. That does not align with themselves because they haven't worked their way through it. They just look at someone who is already doing some good stuff and they try to copy him. And trust me, that doesn't work. You can't align. In the last video, we talk about congruence and how important it is to build trust and build comfort, that isn't there in these kinds of people. And that is one of the most important factors when you're dealing with your emotions. You have to be congruent with your emotions. You need to know what those emotions are. And that's the only way you can be congruent with them. That's the only way you will be able to either minimally suppress them or accentuate them according to your needs. Actually, I we can blame it all on the mindset that is being pushed to the today's generation. You go to any Indian house and the parents will be like, your mindset, your mindset, your mindset. There was no freaking mindset during your time. When you were 20, you were hanging out with your friends, playing football and just enjoying your life. And you expect a 21-year-old to be just sat on his laptop doing some work and reading for his exams every time. How does that work? How is that life? Doesn't it feel so boring, so mundane, such a waste of what you could possibly be? That is such an important concept. Mindset. You will see in the 80s and 90s philosophy, there was no concept of mindset. There wasn't a single concept of mindset. But people used to live, people used to thrive in those days. How did they survive? It's a propaganda spread by the people, by the businessmen who just want to make money off you. There is no thing such as mindset. And one of the most said things by some self help gurus is they wake up in the morning, they go to the mirror and start telling themselves that they are the best. Like, what kind of insecure mindset is that? That you have to remind yourself every time that you are the best waking up in the morning? What if you can't one day get up from your bed? Do you have to do that every time? And self belief is an important concept, don't get me wrong. But it only comes through work. It only comes when you take harder decisions, when you put yourselves out there, or when you go through the fire. It doesn't come from going up in front of the mirror and saying you are the best. Like, how can it even be possible? Like, how can you comprehend into your mind that it's possible? It's not. My goal here is not to put you against it, but to make you think about why are we so much fantasizing about a thing called mindset, which didn't used to exist in last some decades, but suddenly it's the most important thing for every entrepreneur, for every business owner. Like, what's the mindset for becoming rich? What's the mindset? There's no mindset. You just develop it. You just develop a strong mind to deal with situations through which you can get whatever you want. I think it was yesterday I was watching a video about Lindley's Law or something like that it was called. And it said a thing which has survived for a certain amount of time in the past will continue to survive for that certain amount of time in the future. Facebook, it was founded in 2006. It's 2025 and it's still running. Almost 20 years and it's still running. And you can be damn sure it's gonna be running in for the next 20 years. In the ancient times, people had no concept of the food pyramid, but they knew hunger. They filled their bellies. That's why we are here. They had great bodies. They were in great shape. They were in great health. Now, one could argue that it wasn't such a great time during those times. One could argue that I know that they were living such great lives when I didn't live in those times, and they might be true. I may not have lived during those times, but from the general research that has been done by many archaeologists and scientists in different respected universities and institutes, it's been found out that they had better jaw health, better digestive systems, and better bone structures than most of us have today. And the reason that I'm saying this, that I'm talking to you, is sometimes even I am scared out of my mind. Even I'm scared of being judged. That is what evolution has put us through. The fear of being judged, the fear of being ostracized by the society. During the ancient times, if you were ostracized by the society, by your tribe, you are done. You are an outcast. You will live on your own, die on your own. You will hunt your own food. You will gather your own fruits. You will live on your own. You have no access to a mating partner. But this is a world we have not been evolved for. It's a capitalistic world. And we are trying to live like that in this capitalistic world. And it doesn't work. It isn't fair like that as it used to be. Everyone says that work is equals to a reward, but it's not. Yeah, you might be able to score good in exams if you work hard, but come real life and you realize there is a lot more randomness that is coming into this world, that is coming into play, that you couldn't have predicted and you are not prepared for. And then you look at it like it's some alien thing because you're not used to being so alienated from things. You just love to read everything about an exam. You love to prepare everything and then go and just vomit it. You love the control. But when things go out of control, which is the basic thing of this world, the principle of randomness, you don't know how to deal with it. You're choking, you're shitting your brain. So, how can you be prepared for the randomness? The answer is you can't be prepared. You just have to be ready for it. You just have to handle it when it comes. You can't be living in the fear that what's gonna happen. Well, if that's not gonna happen, something else is gonna happen, which you couldn't ever have predicted, and you have to stand through it. You just have to stand there like a rock. You have to adapt your ways, as Bruce Lee says, be like water. Adapt yourself. And in a certain point, you realize that your failures don't matter because that's one of the things that we as people are scared about, that is failures. In the grand scheme of things, your failures don't count. It stems from one of the things we talked about in the previous video, that is the main character syndrome, in which we think that we are something when we are not. It's just a speck of dirt, dust. No one really cares. The approach you are gonna do and you get rejected, no one's gonna remember you. Trust me. You get laughed at in front of a class while giving a presentation. They're not gonna remember it 2 years down the line. When they have kids, they have grandkids, they won't remember it. They're too busy living their own life. They're too busy dealing with their own problems. They don't have time to deal with yours. So just do what you want. Make the most out of the things. Live your life. Make it great. Alright, I'm gonna leave. Peace out.